So enough foreplay. Let's talk about the practical. What does it mean to be kind to yourself in terms of behavior, thought patterns, etc.? You can figure it out for yourself. Like I said, start with the external. What would it mean to be kind to others? And you might even want to pause at this point, get a piece of paper out, do a little brainstorm. If you're being kind to other people, loving towards other people, bullet points, what kind of things would I witness you doing? What kind of things would you say? How would you react to their struggles? What would you do when they're down? What would you do when they're up? What would you call their attempts at doing things? What would look like encouragement? What would look like love, right? When's the last time you were loving towards someone? What did you do and why? Because your code is in there if you've at least done it to somebody else in your life. But even if you haven't, you can start asking yourself some questions to just rethink what loving someone looks like. Okay, so take a common scenario. Let's say a friend of yours is struggling to achieve a goal that's clearly beyond their current capability, and they're being hard on themselves about the failure. Say a friend comes home from the gym, and you're like, "How was the workout?" He's like, "Fucking sucked, man. I went there. I was like, I've got to do 10 pull-ups today because I did 10 last week, and I tried my best, but I only did 7. I'm such a weak cunt, right? Imagine you're in that situation. And now I want you to think, what would kindness to that person look like right here, right now? Would you pressure them to work harder? Would you scold them for their failures? Would you agree with them? Like, yeah, you should have done more, you weak fuck. Is that kindness? Or would you tell them to give up on everything? Just, yeah, exercise isn't for you, mate. Just here's some drugs, give up, crash on the couch. Is that what you'd do? Would you advise them to keep on pushing to do something that's clearly unsustainable and, keep doing the thing that obviously makes them miserable? Would you encourage them to keep doing it? Would you give them drugs, take their mind off it, introduce them to gambling? Maybe you would do these things because you don't understand kindness. But here's what a kind person is likely to do. Remind them of how well they're doing. To remind them that survival is an achievement. Everyone dies eventually, so if you're still going, you're on top of things. That you've become complacent about all the things you achieve because you usually achieve them. Right? You think having a shower is no big deal. Try being a homeless drug addict. Having a shower is a big deal. It really is. You're exercising at all is amazing. That you managed to do whatever's required to put food on the table for one more day. That you tolerated this nightmare of a world we live in for another few hours. You got through it and didn't top yourself. This is actually an achievement. You're actually well on top of things. Going to the gym and doing 10 pull-ups is icing on the cake. The fact that you've got yourself to a situation where you could even go to a gym is amazing. Right? Have you forgotten that? So a kind person reminds you that you actually are already doing really well. There's no pressure required here. You're on top of things. You tease out their narrative. Maybe get them to compare that with evidence. A lot of people like to sell themselves a story about how badly they're doing, but it doesn't line up with evidence. Somebody says, I'm broke. You go, well, how much money do you actually have? How come you got a roof over your head? How come there's food in the fridge? What do you mean by broke? So kindness isn't necessarily like, oh, poor you. That's pity. Kindness is reminding people and sometimes challenging them about the facts of life, that actually they're doing all right. Somebody's like, oh, I'm a fucking loser. Well, then how are you still here? How have you been going all these years if you're not a winner? A loser wouldn't be here. I don't mean to undermine anyone who's passed, but one of the things I always keep in mind, and some of you will be intimately familiar with this, is that suicide is an option. And I'm not recommending it. But if you haven't taken that option despite being aware that it's available, then you're a fighter. Because it's a tempting fucking option. It really is. Like, you didn't choose to be born. Seems kind of unfair to be dumped in this shithole that somebody else wrote. So if you're like, no, I'll stick it out one more day. I'll try and get through it. That's quite courageous, right? I've got nothing but sympathy for suicide victims. Like, I get it. I get giving up, right? There's a lot of reason to give up, which means the people who don't are incredibly courageous. So somebody says like, oh, I suck, or life's terrible, or whatever. It's like, well, that only emphasizes how well you're doing. If you think life's terrible and you're still going, fucking bravo. It's easy to carry on when life's easy. You're carrying on when life's hard. Why wouldn't you pat yourself on the back for that? Somebody says, I have bad luck. It's like, really, every minute of the day? Which minutes exactly did bad luck things happen? An example, I got a client recently who's had a number of bereavements in 1 year. It is an average of like one a month for 6 months or something, which is pretty rough. And I'm sure the sense of grief was non-stop almost throughout that 6 months, but those people actually only died on one day. I hate to sound kind of callous about it, but that means that was 6 months. 5 days had bereavements. The rest of the time, nobody died. Is that not good luck? Have we forgotten the normal human state? Like 1,000 years ago, half your family died before the age of 5. Like that was normal. If you're only having one bereavement a month, that means you're having 29 days of non-death per month. So how bad is your luck really? If you're having 29 bereavements a month, yeah, you got bad luck. It's another thing. Like if you're sad from 6 people dying, you knew 6 people well enough to be sad? Good for you socially. There are people out there who's got no funerals to go to. There's no one they're that close to. Now, it's not to sort of make you feel guilty that you feel bad, but just to make sure you're not adding to the story about what's actually happening. One of the ones I've been battling with lately, trying to be challenging in a loving way to myself, is the story that I don't get enough sleep. I've been sort of sleep deprived since my daughter was born. Pretty much every night she'll wake me up 2 or 3 times a night. But look at me doing this podcast. I mean, how sleep deprived am I, really? I'm not in hospital, so I'm not that sleep deprived. I don't seem to be having any major illnesses or injuries that directly result from sleep deprivation. I'm still able to get shit done, mostly, to a survivable, we get through to the next day standard. So is the narrative that I'm not getting enough sleep accurate? Or is it more like I wish I had more sleep? Do I even actually need that much sleep? Is that proven? I mean, I'm tired, but maybe I'm tired because I tell myself I'm tired. So kindness isn't letting me indulge in a story that might not be true, that isn't backed by the evidence, and is fact actually a compliment. Look how much I do despite being tired. That's the truth. That's what I should be telling myself if I want to be accurate and kind. I mean, I used to work with criminal offenders, and many of them were drug addicts, and it'd be just amazing if some of them managed to come and see me on the right day, forget the right time, right week, shit. I mean, for them in their situation, homeless, drug addicted, all their friends are gang members, they've got pending court cases, and they remember to come and have their interview with me. That's kind of amazing, right? I'm not sure I'd remember to do that with that kind of shit going on. So are they really like a loser, or are they kind of incredible, kind of amazing that they can get something so basic done in such a chaotic storm? And when you're kind to people, you help them see when they're being hard on themselves, when they're asking too much. You point out that if they're stressed, then they must be asking too much from themselves, or otherwise they wouldn't be stressed. That if they're like, oh man, I didn't get any shit done today, then whatever they're asking themselves to get done was too much, or otherwise they would have got done. Like, if you're asking yourself to do the right amount, you'd be like, fuck, I crushed it today, every single day. Right? That would be the exact right amount to ask from yourself. It's like, man, I ran out of shit to do at like 3 p.m., like another day. But that list is completely arbitrary. You decide how much stuff is on that list of things you've got to do. So if you get to the end of the day and the list is undone, you made the list too big. You did, not life, you. Guarantee you 99% of things on the list were not required for your survival today. So that means they're optional extras. You asking yourself to do more optional extras than you can handle doing is unkind. Whatever you did is the limit. Try the reverse. Write yourself a to-do list that's done by 11 and then make it you can spontaneously do optional things after. If you're like, oh my God, I can never cut the list down that much. You're lying to yourself. Tell you what, get a highlighter out, take your list, highlight all the things that if you don't do them, somebody dies today. Anything that's not highlighted doesn't have to be done. Period. You're lying to yourself if you say it does. Just remember, if you're doing things in a healthy way, you wouldn't be stressed. So if you're feeling stressed, you're doing it wrong. Don't pressure yourself to keep doing it wrong. Figure out how to do it right. Call out the false dichotomies. Right? If you've been kind to someone and they're stuck in it's either this or that and they're both terrible options, go, is there maybe a third option that you just can't see right now because you're stressed? Because there's never only two options. I think unless you're about to receive an execution where you can either they say, what final words have you got? Oh, even then, there's so many different things you could say. Well, let's say someone's got a gun to your head and they're about to pull the trigger. And you can either like look them in the eyes or close your eyes. That's a situation where you really only got two options. Even as I say that, I think there's other things you could do. But I guarantee you, I'll put it out there as a challenge. You give me an example of a situation where you've only got two options, and I will come up with a third. Guaranteed. So when you tell yourself you only got two options and they're both terrible options, you are lying to yourself. You're being unkind to yourself. Ask yourself, well, if both of these suck, what's the third one? Or if there is a range of options, I could see them all, but they all suck. Well, which one sucks the least for the long term? Okay, go ahead with that one then. Stop waiting around for a good option. Sometimes that's what kindness is about. It's about gently helping someone see that there's no good option on the table. Because life doesn't always have good options. But it always has a range of best to worst. And the quicker you act, usually, thoughtfully, the more options you keep on the table. So you can grab the best option quickly if you're not hanging around waiting for a better one. But if you hang around going, oh, these are all uncomfortable, I'll just wait. Well, then the best one's usually the first one off the table. That opportunity's gone. Then the next one. Then you're left with the dog shit ones, right? And challenge your ego attachment to suffering, to martyrdom, to being the poor underdog who has bad luck, the paranoid loser who's been targeted by the universe, who life is unfair. It's not kindness to attach to that identity. When I tell myself I'm the guy who doesn't get any sleep, that doesn't benefit my life. It's not even true. I'm a loser and nobody loves me. I've coached some of the people, I've coached people who've got the worst social lives you could imagine. They've always got someone who loves them. Always at least one person, if nothing else, me. I'm loving towards them. You attach to these stories about yourself being worse than you actually are. And kindness is about letting go of that attachment. Like, oh, maybe I'm actually just a normal human being. Maybe I'm not this special, negatively special person. Maybe I'm just regular primate struggling with life. Can I just be middle of the pack? Can I just be a regular person? Is that okay? Can I let go of being something special and just blend into the other grains of sand on the beach and just deal with life? Get coaching and support. Why are you doing this on your own? Independence, self-made man, whatever. That's a trauma coping mechanism. Healthy people always go and get support. Healthy people are resourceful. Confident people work with others, they cooperate, collaborate. They do what's best for getting the job done, not what is the only way they can do it on their own. So if you're struggling, get support. Ask for help. It's one of the hardest things in the world for me to do is ask for help. I recently just sort of brought on two people in my work, one to help me with creative admin, one to help me with sales. It took me months to like work myself up to actually ask them. Then afterwards, I'm like, why didn't I do this earlier? This makes my life so much better and it makes their life better. The fuck was I waiting for? Right? Every time I've hired a coach or seen a therapist or asked my wife for advice, it hasn't always been that I went with what they said or anything, but it's always been helpful to include other people. If nothing else, just to validate my own ideas. And come back to the basics. Stress is being here when you want to be there. So kindness is getting okay with here. Base your decisions on what is your current level of fitness, your current level of mental strength, your current financial situation, your current social situation, your current logistical location. Instead of wishing you were somewhere else or a you version from the past or somebody else, like deal with what you are. So you bench pressed 100 kgs last week, but you've got a shoulder injury now. So now you're a guy with a shoulder injury. You're not that guy who did 100. He didn't have a shoulder injury. So this guy's just going to do push-ups because he doesn't want to fuck up his injury. So going, oh, I wish I could still bench. No, only guys without shoulder injuries can bench. You're a shoulder injury guy. Forget it. It's over. Push-ups or nothing. Squats. Oh, I wish I had more money. Well, you don't. You don't have more money. Go look at your bank account. That's how much money you have. Do a budget based on that. Make financial decisions based on that. Yeah, you could afford lattes and stuff last month. You can't this month. Goodbye, lattes. So be it. Kindness is working with what is resourceful, present, realistic. Stop dreaming about something that isn't happening because it just bums you in. And just do all of this one small step at a time. In the end, we're all just living until we don't anymore. There's no destination to get to, there's just staying alive. right? That's hard enough. You don't need to ask more of yourself from that. So what's the next best move I can do with where I'm at that is, within my capability, which is something I can control, do something about, meaningful, aligned with my values? I'll just do that. And then after that's done, I'll do the next one until I die. Thank you so much for watching, listening. I'll see you next time. Are you a nice guy or people pleaser who wishes they were more assertive, more honest, and better respected by others? Since 2013, I've been helping people just like you discover their integrity and apply it courageously to build deep and meaningful connections, get respected by others, and become the confident person you've always wanted to be. Imagine being able to speak your mind without worrying what other people will think or worrying that it's the right thing to say, and being able to assertively stand up for yourself and your loved ones. Imagine never feeling the need to apologize for who you are or what you want, and being able to live carefree without shame or the I'm not good enough story in your head. Imagine going to bed knowing that you courageously took every opportunity available to you and you've got no regrets because you always know what you should be doing in every situation. I'm so confident in my ability to help people like you unleash your highest level of self-worth that I give people a free coaching session to test what I'm doing. In this 1 hour session, we will uncover the biggest barrier to your confidence, whether it's an awareness problem, you don't know what you should be doing differently, or it's a courage problem, you know what you should be doing, but you find it too intimidating. I will guide you to make a breakthrough with your behavior to get through that barrier in a powerful way without feeling terrified and without destroying everything you love. I've had some people find this first session so powerful that I never hear from them again simply because they didn't need anything more after that. It launched them into the highest level of confidence that they've ever experienced. And if that's the result you get, I'm good with that. One client put it, this session was more valuable to me than 3 years of therapy combined. So if you're tired of trying to keep everybody happy, and you're sick of worrying what other people think of you, and you're concerned that your people pleasing and conflict avoidance is going to damage your relationships, then come and have a talk with me. Worst case scenario, you get to experience what it's like to talk with someone who actually understands what it's like to be you. I've lived the nice guy experience for decades. I know it inside and out. I know that pain. Case scenario, and very likely, you will have such a powerful insight into a behavioral change that you can make in the next 24 hours to significantly improve your confidence, relationships, and career. All I ask is that you be honest, open to change, and willing to try something new. Why wait another 10 years to discover confidence when you can do it today? Fill out the brief form below to apply for a trial coaching session. Do this quickly because there are limited spots each month, and then I'll get back to you to book in a time to talk.